Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to Noonday Meditation and Contemplative Power Hour. My name is Martin Coward, and we have been meeting here virtually at noon almost every day, Monday through Friday, since the beginning of the pandemic. That's been over a year. And we created this sanctuary largely in the beginning as a refuge from all the drama brought into our lives by the crisis. We needed a place to come and share our hope, our victories, our scares, our challenges, everything with each other. And that's the purpose of this broadcast. But now, as we're getting to some sort of not an end to the pandemic, but at least we sort of start to see some light at the end of the tunnel. We're moving from, we've made it through it. So we're moving into celebrating. We're moving into celebration that we have survived, and we're taking that celebration, that energy, that wonderful love energy, and we're figuring out now what do we do with all that? And one of the ways I'm doing it this month in March is I'm celebrating women as a thank you for the tremendous contribution women are bringing into our world and what they're bringing, and they're leading the movement. No doubt about it. These women are leading us out of this poverty way of thinking into a prosperity way of living. And thank goodness, because that old way is so tiresome and painful and boring. So I am very excited today to introduce and bring on as my guest one of my longtime friends, Ruth Gursky. Ruth and I met when I was running a booth years ago at a LGBT Expo in New York. And she came by my booth to visit with me. And we just started laughing and we just had the grandest time together that we decided to get together and have lunch. And I got to tell you that then she became my client. And we began, and one of our traditions, as always, was to have lunch together. And I always look forward to that. We got it as soon as the pandemic is over. We promise we will definitely get together and have lunch together. But I always love those lunches that we used to have together when I was your traditional financial advisor. And I thank you for that opportunity. But today we're celebrating. You got so much more and to give and so much to share in your life story. So I'm going to be quiet, which is hard for me because I'm a speaker and I like to talk. And I'm going to turn this over to my dear friend, Ruth Gursky, and let her tell a little bit of her story, introduce herself, and just be her wonderful, generous self for the next few minutes. Okay, Ruth, thank you so much for joining us. Please take it away.
Well, thank you so much. That was a great introduction. I appreciate it. And, we all have a story to share.
Thank God.
I mean, we are all truly unique. God broke the mold with each of us. And this pandemic has taught us so many things about ourselves, and the fact that we are, pack animals. We need other people. We need our peeps. We need our hugs.
We do. Let's just say hello to this friend of ours here, Michael Lehrman.
Michael, yes.
You know Michael? He's just saying hello. And we want to thank Michael for joining us. And please, if you have comments along the way and you have questions, please type them into the chat. We love that, encourage that. Okay, Ruth, sorry to interrupt, but we gotta thank our loyal fans for showing up. What we gotta say.
That's one of the blessings we learned during this pandemic, is that we reach out to friends, find out how everybody's doing, whether it's by phone call or Facebook really became so essential. These podcasts and these, all of these webinars that organizations have been having, you created, this has been the lifeblood for all of us. And when it first hit, I kind of like hibernated, fear, hit all of us. And what do we do with that fear? And it took a while until Andy Cuomo said to us, we can go out, we can run, you can go outside safely, walking by yourself or with another person, socially distant, with masks and all of that. And that opened up to me, a new focus on me. I never gave myself the time because I was always giving to others, whether as an attorney, as a personal trainer, a Group X instructor, running coach, fundraising consultant, all the different things that I did in my life, which I love so much. I was always, making time for others. And if I had a time, I'm going to work out from 12 to 1. And somebody said, Ruth, I need to meet you at 12 o'clock. my workout went out the window and I met that person, or whatever it was, trained that person. And so this really gave me 1 year of like taking care of me. And I learned the right pieces, mostly like the rest of my life, falling into things, falling into different groups via Facebook or random emails that I got that could have been spam, but really was a link to somebody, a teacher, a coach. And while some people have gained the COVID-19, I'm happy to report I lost the COVID-19 0.3 and counting, and really started enjoying my life. And, I never really thought of retirement, but now that I'm thinking about returning to work, it's like I'm giving up this good stuff, walking or running twice a day, and, just being outside and discovering where I live. So that's been, quite a personal journey for me, which I've shared with Facebook friends and others. And on Facebook, we all create. I knew I had to reach out somehow to some people in some way, and where we had a crazy president this past year, the worst possible person in charge of our government in a time of crisis. And memes came out and political cartoons, editorial cartoons. And I just decided that's going to be my focus, is to make my friends laugh with some of these good political cartoons and memes. Also sharing information that I got from reliable sources about COVID. And so I created a whole new community of friends this way, as you created on via your podcast. And it's just been rather exciting, and an interesting journey. I mean, you can see all the negatives of what we don't have, but one of the great things that we can each do to embrace your greatness, to be the best you can be, is to be grateful. Hello, Gail. I see you. Thank you so much. Be grateful for what you do have. We weren't able to hug people, but we could still reach out to them. We weren't able to race, but you could still run and walk on your own. We weren't able to go to the theater or go to museums. And thankfully, there were different online, website experiences where you could have museum tours and go see shows, broadcasts of shows, and meet actors and actresses backstage. And, this whole world opened up in ways that we never ever thought. And as we had talked a little backstage, the world of internet, it used to be mothers and fathers wanted, time off and work from home to be with their young children, and bosses would say, no, you have to come to the physical office. Well, guess what? We all survived this last year working remotely. And I think that's going to change the workforce forever. And I think for the better. There'll be possibly hybrid schools for the next year, if not longer. I mean, we realize that, you can do without the physical presence in other ways, and have some viable substitutes. So you asked me for a title of what I was going to speak about. And, I thought embrace your greatness, because I think we all have potential to be great. We don't all have the wherewithal to make that happen. Some of us don't have the support networks. But if you think about it, we're all great. We all have a story. We've all done things in our lives that have touched other people. And I've been really blessed to be fortunate to sometimes see how I've created ripples into the water, how I've thrown those rocks and seen the pebble going into the water and rippling effect. And you don't always see it, but if you look, you can. And there are doors that open to you that, thank you, Judith. I love the pink hair too. It's actually purple, but it's hard to see. But I appreciate you sharing that. um, you know, I'm Jewish. I'm a spiritual person more than an orthodox, strictly religious person. I definitely believe in God or the higher power. I definitely believe in angels. And, I've been stopped as I was not paying attention crossing the street by an angel that pulled me back so I didn't get killed. It's happened several times. I say, thank you, right? right? I mean, thank God we have our angels. And also, I'm aware enough to see when doors open. You know, you never quite know you're on a certain path in life. Thank you, Daisy. You're on a certain path in life, and you think, like I'm going to be a lawyer. I there was a circuitous route to becoming a lawyer, but I became a lawyer. And I literally was in my office one afternoon. And at this point, I was, had a secretary. That was very exciting to have a secretary for the first time, by the way. And I had a secretary, and she calls me and she said, Ruth, you have a call from Amsterdam. I'd never been to Amsterdam. I know nobody in Amsterdam. And I said, it's definitely a salesman. It's definitely a wrong number. Hang up. But she said, no, he really wants to talk to you. He seems to know of you. And it turned out to be somebody from the Gay Games Planning Committee in Amsterdam. And the Gay Games executive director was coming for a visit when the week of Memorial Day weekend. Now, in New York City, as you know, all the gays flee to the Hamptons and to Provincetown and Rehoboth Beach, wherever they're going. They are not in New York City on Memorial Day weekend. But that's when he was coming. I told the guy, let me see what I could do. Why me? I never did find out why me, but somehow he got me. And I started calling up and asking around, and I found out I could rent a room in the center without cost to me, and then charge a few dollars that'll pay back the room rental fee. I called the various gay papers and got free ads in and created my first ad in a little text box, all of this stuff. Turns out the director came, 200 people. The 200 people that was still in New York, in our community, came, and it was a success. I was then asked to form Team New York, and I did. And I put together a board of people many of whom were there, who were heads of different sports. And it was like a door opened up. Yes, I'm an attorney, but I've been on boards before. So I kind of got a feel for nonprofits. I never was a director of a nonprofit or a president, but why not? Door opened up, Ruthie walked in it. And if you still believe that there's a higher power out there, probably a month or so after that, I was picking up the mail. And my girlfriend at the time got these catalogs from NYU continuing education programs. And those were big catalogs, like big oversized catalogs. And I just literally threw it on the table. And the catalog opened up to get a certificate in nonprofit management, in fundraising management. And I was like, if I'm going to be in charge of this Team New York, I better know a little something, something. And I called them up and, found out, you could just do it. You just sign up for a class, and for $400, you could take a class in fundraising 101. And, you don't have to get a certificate, but of course I did. And everything I learned in the class, I applied to Team New York. So I'm an attorney now, and now I'm also in charge of this organization. And we ended up with the biggest contingent other than the Amsterdam contingent themselves. I mean, that's how many people, if you build it, they will come. If you start it, people wanted to go to the gay games. They just didn't know how to get there and the information and all of that, and join a Team New York. And we put it together. And the next games were going to be in Sydney, Australia. So I talked to my board. I said, we got to stay alive. We got to continue working and maybe create, do enough fundraising to create a travel fund. And everybody stuck with it. And we did events, and we did a calendar, and we did corporate fundraising. I had the best time. And I learned so much about fundraising, organization, people. And again, we had a very large contingent. We gave out scholarships, travel funds, travel grants. We had a host hotel. We had free events. It was just really something. So now I said, I like this fundraising stuff. And so I said, let me put out my shingle. I'm an attorney. I'm a fundraising consultant. Why not? Put it out there. And I started working with organizations, putting on events and helping them with their fundraising, mostly like small to mid-size organizations. And it was all challenging and you had to be creative. And there's a whole creative side of me that, I never really appreciated. We have sides of ourselves. I think each of us, we're somewhat limited in sometimes in our thinking, I'm a this, I'm a that, and that's what I am. But if you really think about it, some of us have artistic tendencies. Look at you with your speaking, and all of that, and you love it. And look at with your podcasts. I mean, we each have many skills that we don't always hone. The skill that we hone the most is the shiniest, but we have other ones that maybe are tarnishing in our bottom drawer that if we pick up, maybe we are an artist. Maybe not a great artist, but the best we could be. And I find that to be interesting about people and about myself. Um, and so I'm doing fundraising consulting, and I didn't really, I never got a job at a nonprofit that I wanted, but I put out feelers, and you never know. I was involved in the running community at this point, and that came about as a result of a fall where I had 2 knee surgeries, and a doctor said you have 20% permanent partial damage to your right knee. What do you do with that, Martin? What do you do with that information?
You turn that challenge into an opportunity.
That's what you do. And so I went to see a personal trainer, and I said, I got to strengthen my right knee. And, am I getting 100% from my left knee? I don't know. I was an attorney. I was a couch potato. And I I was dating at the time a runner, and I took a few running steps, and my knee didn't fall off, and God didn't strike me dead. So I said, maybe I'm a runner. I mean, I don't know. I never did this before. And again, if you believe in the angels, I never read those little local papers that you get under your door and that are in the laundry room in your apartment building. One day I picked up a paper. It must have had a fun picture on the cover. I threw it on my dining room table, and it opens up to there was a race in Flushing Meadow Park, what they called a duathlon, run, bike, run. Literally at that point, I had only run like from where you're sitting to your front door, like a little, and my, again, I was afraid, I had 20% limitation in my knee. I didn't want to like my knee to fall off, but I ran around my block and I said, yep, I could do this. Cause I was already cycling. My doctor and physical therapist had said, Ruth, you got a bicycle. That's what you got to do. Bicycle and walk. And so I participated in the race, and it was a 2-mile run. Again, I've never gone more than around the block of my apartment building. And then I don't know if it was 8 or 10 miles on the bike, which was probably more than I had ever done in my life as well. And then a second 2-mile run. I am now the last person on the course. I mean, there's nobody left in Flushing Meadow Park, but I'm like the last person on the course. And somebody cycles up to me and says, hurry up, we're holding the finish for you. You're coming in 3rd place. I said, I like this sport. Running is a good thing. I joined front runners. I took classes. I started running races. I'm a runner. Never thought I could run a marathon because that's 26.2 miles. But I heard about a run, walk, run program. And I said, well, if there's walking involved and there's a training group that's for slow people like me, maybe I could do a marathon. 6 marathons later, I'm a runner. I'm an athlete. Go no. It's all a journey. It's all a journey. So I'm working out in the gym one day, and I met the healthy lifestyles director, and I'm sharing him the story of how I went from 2 knee surgeries and the 20% limitation to running marathons. And he says, Ruth, why aren't you working here? I said, because I'm a lawyer, not a trainer. He says, we can train you. Doors open up. You either walk through it or you walk on by. I said, tell me more. And I became a fitness coach at the Y. And it's funny, the person who hired me, the healthy lifestyles director, he went on to become a lawyer, went to law school, left the Y to go to law school. And I went to work at the Y. And his successor paid my way, and I became a personal trainer. And that opened a whole new set of doors for me. And through that, I was doing some group X classes, but I wasn't a group exercise certified instructor. So I took those classes on my own. And I was doing a run walk, marathons and racing and training using a run walk method. But I wasn't a certified running coach. And I thought that could be something I have in my toolbox, is to become a running coach. I did that. And I've helped other people reach their goals. And it's just a wonderful thing. I think especially I ended up, just by chance, who knows? I had young clients as well, but I started having a lot of senior clients. And, seniors didn't necessarily grow up in the gym era. Young people now, thank you, Janice. Young people now are, they're born in gyms, and they go to gyms. And, for women, there's Title IX is a given. You didn't have to fight for the right to play baseball and basketball and soccer and all of that. It's there. And so seniors are a particular brand of people, and some of them are very ornery. I mean, downright, this is the way they do things. Don't be changing the way I'm doing things, because this is what I do. And I try to channel the calm and the patience in me. You've learned how to do that, Martin. I'm learning how to do that. And I would think, okay, that's my mother. That's my grandmother. Let's be nice to her. That's my grandfather. Let's be nice to him. Don't be mean to him, even though he deserves it. And it's just wonderful to see people who are of another generation that did not grow up with this fitness mindset, enjoying themselves in the gym and learning, finding what they love, finding their passion, finding their muscles. They'll say, "Oh, Ruth, I can now lift something, grab something from the cabinet above. I can now bend down and get back up." I had one woman who I worked at the McBurney Y, which was on 12th Street, 14th Street rather, between 6th Avenue and 7th Avenue, closer to 6th. And I had a client who lived in a building on 7th Avenue and 14th Street, literally around the corner. She had to hire Accessoride to get her there because she couldn't walk it and she was afraid of falling. And I met with her, and I think it was like after about our second or our third session together, she said, "Ruth, I walked over here." And I mean, I just gave her the biggest hug because I knew that meant for her freedom. She can go not only to the gym, but she can go shopping on her own. She's not dependent anymore on others to get things delivered. She could leave her house and feel safe walking, maybe not a marathon, but around the corner to the Y, across the street to the supermarkets, down the block to the pharmacy. I mean, these are great transformations. Nothing that would, be on a plaque, in a museum in the Smithsonian. But how important was that to her life, that because she worked out in the gym and she got a little stronger and she worked on the treadmill or on the bicycle or whatever I put her on, in the smallest of weights, that she now felt that self-confidence, and others were able to reach things and reach down and get themselves up. I mean, those are the joys that, I wasn't paid a lot to work at the Y, but the joy that I got from other people, um, or like leading walks. I led a walking group, both at Sage, which is a senior center, an advocacy center for gay seniors, LGBTQ seniors. Um, and I would lead walks, and I would hear the most wonderful stories. What they'd make your hair curl, Martin. Stories of coming out in the 50s and the 60s, and the Stonewall. Some of the guys were at Stonewall. The dating stories, their drag stories. I ate it up. I loved it. I wouldn't have gotten that if I just stuck to being a lawyer, because it was Ruth the lawyer. Um, And I had a girlfriend at the time who only liked Ruth the lawyer. She didn't like when I would go to an amusement park and just become Ruth the kid and let my inner 12-year-old out and go playing around. She liked Ruth the lawyer. And Ruth is a lot more, as you're learning, and as you have already learned, a lot more than a lawyer. And, what a great life, like this world that we're in. I'm so grateful that we're in this century. I mean, if we were in the 1918 pandemic, this never would have happened. I mean, we literally would have been isolated. We literally would have been locked into our homes for 12 months or whatever it was, with none of this accessibility, without the shot being available. Within a year, we have a vaccine. I'm getting my second shot today, by the way. Woohoo!
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So life really is good, and you have to look for the goodness. You have to not let fear interfere with what you can do. You have to try to make a difference by doing what you enjoy and just find that inner passion. You might have to meditate. You might have to think about it, or else do like me, open up a newspaper and see what unfolds. Open up a school catalog and see what page it turns onto. I mean, my life has literally changed by these, what we call beshert moments, these karmic moments of seeing what's there in front of me, not seeing it before, not knowing it was ever even there.
Right.
And there it was, right in my face.
What you reminded me of is one of my big teachers in the world is a guy named Eckhart Tolle. He wrote a book called The Power of Now, and he wrote A New Earth. And The New Earth is a great book to read for anybody to know as we come into this. He wrote it about 15 years ago or 10 years ago or something. I think 15 years ago. It's about creating a new earth, a new world that is, and if you read it and that was 15 years ago, if you read it today, it's like what he's talking about 15 years ago is happening now. And one of the things that he talks about in his book about what to do, the things to do in life and things not to do. And he says, you build your life on 3 pillars. One of them is don't do anything unless you enjoy it. Don't do anything unless you're enthusiastic about it. And third, if it's not enjoyable or not, can you accept the responsibility of what you're doing for the betterment of the world? And what he means by that is, let's just take example of you have a dog and you take your dog for a walk. I don't know anyone yet who can find joy and enthusiasm of cleaning up dog poop on the sidewalk. But people who have dogs, who have love and respect for others, can accept the fact that they need to clean up the dog from the dog poop. So they do it that way. So there's those, and that in your talk today, which is exactly you have been like the classic example of an extraordinary woman just doing ordinary things to inspire and change the lives of others. So thank you so much for sharing so much of this story. We're going to do a little meditation in a minute, but also I just wanted to hone in and just bring to one of probably the greatest spiritual teachers of all times. Is you're doing, you probably didn't realize it, that's why I wanted to tell you, but you're living your life doing exactly as he instructs people to live their lives, by living a life of doing what they enjoy, doing that's what your passion is, and then if it's nothing you can love and you can enjoy, can you accept it and do it from a place of bigger good, from a place of betterment of the world, so that you can do it from a place of love and acceptance. And when you live your life from that, look at what you've done today. I mean, look at what you shared today, and look at all the story that you did about changing that woman's life at the gym, to giving her the freedom that's changed her life. Her life is forever changed by the fact that you just spent a little bit of time with her doing something really simple, teaching her how to exercise and to strengthen her muscles. And by doing it from a place of love and compassion for her. And so you said, yeah, I hugged her when she came in because you knew you just created the space for that transformation to happen. And that's beautiful.
I want to just add one more thing, that when you're in life, when you're living your life and all of that, strive for progress, not perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. Learn from your mistakes. You learn the most from your mistakes.
Absolutely. They say that we call it imperfect action
Right.
Yeah, and if you in perfection, if you're a perfectionist, which many of us are, we're high achievers. I know I have a little of a perfectionist in me, but when we're coming as a perfectionist, it just kills our creativity.
Right. And your telephone. And I've heard Eckhart Tolle several times on Oprah, Super Soul Sunday. He's a regular. And his teachings are excellent. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, yeah. So we're half at the hour. So now we move into our. Hold on. This is a meditation hour and power, and that's where we step into that power. That's what and when I'm going to teach, we're going to go through a 20-minute meditation, and I'm going to guide us into the first 5 minutes of it. And this is what it looks like, and this is the intention. The intention of the meditation I do is something called centering prayer. And that is about bringing the center of our focus to the heart space, which is where everything is created in the world. That's our connection to all of life. It's what's called the still point within us. It is that divine spark of life where the oxygen from outside combines with the blood within our bodies to create our life force. So when we stop and we let go of our thinking mind and all of the beliefs and the opinions and the judgments we have and go inside ourselves following our breath, we're able to open that heart space fuller and begin to live a life similar to what we just exactly like what Ruth has just demonstrated by however you get there. But this is one way to get there intentionally. This is how I get there every day. I get up in the morning and I go in and I sit with my coffee and I get into heart space, what I call heart space. And then it wakes up my my spiritual avatar. Her name is Joy, the Wise Woman. And that's my divine feminine avatar, and that's what I call her. And she wakes up and she guides me through the day. So we're going to do that right now. And so it's going to look like, I'm going to ask you to raise your arms in the air. Raise your arms in the air. I do that every time we meditate, no matter what we're doing, because I want us to remind us of just how close that spark of life is within us. That is it. Without that spark of life, you wouldn't raise your hands. I don't care how big your muscles are. It's that spark of life. It's that inner genius. It's that creative spirit that just raised and you, all of us who raised your arms, just became a servant of the divine because you did exactly what the divine said to do. You raised your arm. That's just how easy it is. That's just how close it is. So now that we're here, I'm going to invite you just to sit in your chair, put your hands in your lap, be comfortable, and begin going from outward thinking to inward living. And the way we do that is by focusing on the breath. And a little technique that I'll teach you that's kind of cool is that when we think, the back of our tongue vibrates. So if you want to slow down the thinking, you slow down the vibration of the tongue. And an easy way to do that is to take the tip of your tongue and rest it on the roof of your mouth, just behind your front teeth. Part your lips slightly and relax your jaw. So everybody do that. And just sit and just focus. And as you're breathing, allow the breath to gently massage the back of your tongue as a way to slow down the thinking. So let's try that. So just allow the mind to slow down and become conscious of the breath. Coming in through the mouth or the nose, going down the throat, massaging the back of the tongue, opening up some space around your heart, and use your belly muscles to pull that breath deeper into yourself, to anchor your body into this moment. Use the spirit of the breath to connect you to your body. And just breathe a few breaths, focusing your mind on the in-breath and the out-breath, going down through up to the nose, down the throat, massaging the tongue, opening the heart, pulling it deeper into your belly to anchor yourself into your chair and into your body. And just notice what happens in the silence. Notice how the mind wants to put something in there, a thought, an opinion, a judgment. So we're going to do 3 what I call belly breaths to empty all that out. This is what it's going to look like. On my count, we're going to do We're going to take our belly muscles and we're going to pull the breath in through the nose, down the throat, massage the tongue, open the heart, and pull that breath deeper into the belly with the belly muscle. And then we're going to release it. And as we release it, we're going to let go of every thought, opinion, and judgment we have about the work. You ready? Let's do it. Breathe in through the nose. Use your belly muscles to pull the breath deeper into your belly. Oh, and let it all go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Empty yourself completely. And as you let go of every thought. Let go of every belief, every opinion, every judgment you have about yourself, you have about me, you have about God, about the world. Hold on to nothing. And just let it go and allow yourself to fall more deeply into the emptiness of what I call the cloud of unknowing. That deep spiritual place around the heart, more spaciousness. And just breathe for a moment. And notice how you might be feeling. Scan your body for any emotions. We hold our emotions in our body. Maybe you're feeling joy from this very exciting talk. Maybe you're feeling some gratitude. Maybe you're feeling fear. Maybe you're feeling some shame. Maybe you're feeling angry. They're all guides. Welcome each and every one. And allow yourself to feel it more deeply, to bring you more deeply inside yourself. So with the breath and the fully accepting our feelings, we get to know ourselves more intimately. We get to love ourselves more intimately. We get to understand our divine nature. And if you're gay, you get to understand that divine queer nature. It makes us so unique. So just breathe, and we're going to do another belly breath to pull us more deeply inside ourselves. And when you're ready, use your belly muscles and pull the breath more deeply in. Ready? Pull it in deeper. Pull it in deeper. Pull it in deeper. Really anchor it in. Hold it for a moment, and then just let it go. And as you release the breath, let everything go with it. Again, every thought, every opinion, especially those things of which you may feel ashamed. Any stories you're making up about yourself or others or the world. Let it all go. Hold on to nothing. And allow yourself to fall more deeply into the silence of unknowing, that great solitude of peace. It transcends the limitations of the ego thinking mind. Just be yourself, a place of love and gratitude for this moment. And when you hear that bell, allow it to pull you, allow the vibration of the bell to pull you more deeply inside yourself. And now we're going to do one last belly breath, and then I'm going to be silent. And the only thing you're going to hear for the rest of this meditation is a wake-up bell, just like that one. The purpose of that bell is to wake us up from our thinking, to wake us up from our story, to wake us up from a nap, to wake us up and bring us back to the present, to being awake to the truth, to the divine. So, ready? With the belly muscles, pull the breath in through the nose, down the throat, massage the tongue, open the heart, and pull that breath more deeply into your belly one last time. Really expand it, create as much space as you can. Really go in and get all of that stuff out, and just now let all of it go. Holding on to nothing. and allow yourself to fall more deeply into the stillness of unconditional love. Oh, there's that sweet wake up bell to wake us up out of our thinking, our stories, our planning, our worry, all of that stuff. And the invitation is just to greet it all with gratitude and open heart, say thank you, and let it go. And allow yourself to fall more deeply into the stillness of unconditional love. Oh, there is a sweet sound of that wake-up bell one more time to wake us up out of our thinking, our planning, our plotting, our worrying. Just open your heart more fully from a place of gratitude for that brilliant mind of yours, just doing what it does. And just let it go. And allow yourself to fall more deeply into that stillness of infinite love that you are. And there's our final bell, bring us back into material world, so to speak. Anybody want to chime in with how they're feeling right now from that meditation experience or that prayer experience? I'd love to hear. How are you feeling, Ruth?
It was like a day on the beach without the mess of the suntan lotion and the sand in my butt.
Well, I just want to say it's been such an inspiration. I'm so glad you willing to come and share your time with me today, and all these lovely people who seem to follow you over here. It's just a joy, and you are an inspiration. You're exactly what we're celebrating, an extraordinary woman who's just doing some ordinary things that are inspiring and changing the world. So thank you for that, because you're an inspiration for everybody that's doing just that. So I want to just, before we close out, I want to ignite, how would people, if they want to get closer to, I mean, I see you've got a lot of friends, so you got a pretty good orbit already here on Facebook. If people want to get to know you and get in closer to your orbit so they can enjoy this enthusiasm that you share, how can they do that, Ruth?
I guess come and friend me on Facebook.
There you go. That's easy enough, right?
Let me know
Yeah.
you found me on Martin's show, you know?
That's perfect. That's keep it easy and simple, right? Just keep it
Very.
easy and simple. So I want to just announce a couple of things, and then we're going to sign off. And one of them is that I am, as you may know, I am a spiritual teacher, prosperity and mindset coach, working largely in that capacity with gay, bi, and transgender men. And I have created a special Facebook group called Financial Heart Space for gay, trans, and bisexual men. And I'm going to be doing a live workshop in that Facebook group tomorrow at 1 o'clock on how to solve every problem. I've created a worksheet that can teach you how to solve every single problem that you have by a really simple 3-step process. And that's tomorrow. And that's inside that group. But I also want to bring your attention to another Facebook group that I've created for everybody to share my wisdom and my teaching. And that's called the Financial Mystics Sanctuary. And I would love anyone to join. It has nothing to do with your gender identity. There's a reason why I only work with men, because I do shadow work and energy work, and I work with male energy. I don't work with female energy. So it's not about excluding you. It's about what I do and don't do, what I do well and what I don't do well. So I stay in my own lane there. But I do love to share my wisdom and do with everybody. As you can see, we're celebrating women, so I love women. I love women in my life, and so. If you want to join, get to know me and get to know more what I'm doing in that realm, you're certainly welcome to join me in my private group called the Financial Mystic Sanctuary. And I'll post the link to that in the comment section after this is over. So if you want to join me in there, I'd love to have you. I'd love to get to know you. So that's what we have on that front. So unless anybody else has got to say, let's see. Let's see. We got some things I want to just add in. Let's see. Gail said Mazel Tov.
Mazel tov. Thank you, Gail.
And she said his writing is, I think she's talking about Eckhart Tolle. Yes. And I will say again, go and read his book, The New Earth, A New Earth. It will blow your mind when you realize he is talking about exactly what this pandemic is doing. I call it the big wake up, the big collective dark night of the soul. Because what's happened is, like what Ruth has come out of, is he calls it the flowering of human consciousness. And look at this beautiful flower right here in front of me with purple hair and a big smile. And so he's talking about exactly what's going on. And it's kind of eerie when you read it, like he wrote this 15 years ago. So thank you for that. Yeah, I don't know who his Facebook user is, but I thank you for that.
Thank you.
If you're coming in on StreamYard won't let you. You can just go into there's a link you can click on it to give StreamYard permission to post your name on Facebook. So just so you know that for the future. So I'm glad you're here, but I just don't know who you are. Lisa wanted to say, nice job, Ruthie. Yeah, there you go.
One of my running buds.
And somebody's feeling relaxed from our meditation. That's good to hear. So I'm glad that because that's the whole point. One of the points of this is really, I call it a power hour, because we get to step into our power. We get our minds, sometimes our ego thinking mind gets us all caught absorbed in all these agendas and all these things we got to do and not do and look out for. And I need a breath.
Breath of fresh air, literally.
I need a breath of fresh air, a breath of spirit to just enter my heart and open me up a little bit to what's really going on in the world. And there's actually nothing to be afraid of. We're all here. We're all infinite love. We're all infinite creative energy here. And, what a wonderful example we have in Ruth today and sharing her story. So Ruth, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm just thrilled to be your friend. And I can't wait for us to get together in Manhattan and have dinner together, have lunch together again at my favorite place called La Zia on 7th Avenue.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't eaten there in over a year, because I haven't really been in Manhattan but a couple of times to the dentist and a few things since the pandemic. So I'm looking forward to coming in. It's still there, I'm sure.
Oh, good.
And I like to promote them because they were a huge help to me after 9/11 when I was running the food operation at Ground Zero, and they provided foods for us for a penny practically for 9 months. And so it's not only is their food good, they're very generous people there. So I'm always going to put a plug in for the place called La Zia on 7th Avenue. It's one of the best Italian places in all of Manhattan.
Right off of 23rd Street.
Right off 23rd Street. That's where it is. It's a good place. So I'm going to close this out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you, all of Ruth's friends, for showing up. You got quite a fan club. I love it. Love it. Love it. And hang out for 1 second. I'm going to close this out with may love and prosperity prevail in the world and in your lives. Thank you.